The healing journey isn't usually a straight line. There are breakthroughs, there are setback, unexpected discoveries. That happens in life. But when you are told from a diagnosis or you're told from a test that we're going to take a little detour here, and the detour that the doctor wants to take you on is not the path that you want to go in, well, that sometimes can make you feel dismissed, like it did with me. So I am here to share after being gone for a while that I dove into the research. I found some great teachers that one of them is going to be tomorrow that you're going to fall in love with Dr. Ravi Kumar. He is a board certified neurosurgeon, assistant professor at the University of North Carolina, and a podcaster. It was his podcast that gave me the courage to just continue in the path that I'm going on, ignoring the doctors that are telling me what to do, that I know was not the right thing. Has that ever happened to you? Well, to me, on February 2nd, 2026, I went in for an upper and lower endoscopy, colonoscopy, and an upper endoscopy. And after that was all over, I hear the words blah, 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 hiatal hernia, blah, 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 Barrett's esophagus, and we're testing it for cancer. What? How could that be? And in the same voice, I'm told, oh, you can take proton pump inhibitors. Been there, done that, not ever doing it again. And I even said to the doctor, no, I'm not going to take proton pump inhibitors. What are you talking about with all this testing? And it was shocking to me. But deep down inside, I knew something was going on. I just didn't know what. But as always, God proves to be putting you at the right place at the right time, and everything that happens has purpose. Even that upper endoscopy and colonoscopy that I went through. Yes, it was tough to hear a diagnosis of Barrett's esophagus, but it was great to hear that it didn't have dysplasia, no cancer, benign. How did that happen? How does it happen to someone who eats healthy, thinks positive thoughts? How does that happen? Well, there's a story I want to tell you. And so get out your pencils, get out your papers, because we're going to talk about how drugs can cause side effects later on that you don't even know. And misdiagnoses can cause problems later on that you don't even know. I am so excited to be back. I am excited to tell you what's happening now, what happened then, what's going on moving forward, and all the teachers that have blessed me during this process. So, like I said, get your papers, get your pencils, because we're going to take lots of notes and learn together. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you. Hi, my name is Lillian McDermott, and I am a certified life coach, a certified holistic cancer coach, and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show Classroom. If this is your first time in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. So, here I am, back from being off from recording from the show, the classroom, from really focusing on my health. There have been many teachers that have come through the classroom that haven't taken care of themselves. They say how and they teach us how, but they don't take care of themselves. And they die too soon. They die too soon. Why? I don't know why. Maybe it was their time to go. Their purpose was done. I have no idea. But I still have the music in me. I am still young enough to say I am too young to let a diagnosis or a code define my future. A little bit of a rebellion, I guess, inside of me. But at the same time, it's been such a blessing to go through the trials that started like almost 2 years ago when I said, good, see you soon to my dad. Back in September, 2 years ago, it'll be, gosh, it'll be tomorrow, September 3rd. My dad ascended, and here I am starting the class again. He's such a great teacher. And teachers can teach you how to be and how not to be. And I've seen that consistently through the 15 years that I've been learning from incredible teachers. So here we are. I need to tell you what happened. So after my upper endoscopy and colonoscopy in February 2nd, I was told that I had a hiatal hernia. Shocked, but didn't know. Was told that I had erosive esophagitis and that they were testing me for Barrett's esophagus. If you know what Barrett's esophagus is, and tomorrow in the classroom, we're going to have Dr. Ravi Kumar talk about the digestive system and how your body adapts. I don't even think that we discussed it, but there is a condition called Barrett's esophagus that's a precursor to cancer. This Barrett's esophagus, after having all this erosion, acid reflux, GERD, you feel that heart, that the stomach feeling full all the time, or having diarrhea and not, I don't know, it's a lot of things. And you hear about GERD, what's the first thing you think of? Acid reflux, what you do. It's all about the acid, right? No, it is not about the acid. And that's what I'm going to tell you about today. But Barrett's esophagus is, and learning from Dr. Ravi Kumar, he says that eventually, because of the acid going up the esophagus, which is all protein, by the way, and acid breaks down protein. So that starts breaking down your esophagus, and the acid comes out of your stomach. And so then, because it starts eroding the esophagus, the body wants to adapt, and it adapts it to be, instead of an esophagus, more like your intestine. So it doesn't erode it. It just acts like the intestinal part of it, the acid. And acid can be very, very, very acidic, like 0.7 or 0.8 to 3 or 2.5 or whatever. But the acid level needs to be very, very low. It's very, very, it could burn through just about anything. But your stomach it's got a mucosa, a lining that keeps it from eroding the stomach. So when you eat, when you have food and you eat, the acid starts dissolving everything that you've eaten, the bacterias in the food, the proteins, the nutrients, and that process starts. And what closes, because when you're eating, the valve of the lower esophageal sphincter muscle, it opens when you eat, you eat it, and it goes all the way into your stomach, and then the acid starts producing in your stomach. And when you have enough acid in your stomach, it closes the lower esophageal sphincter, which I'll call LES valve. It's a lot quicker to say it, LES valve. And it sends a signal and the valve closes. So that is the way that the stomach works. When you have acid in your stomach, that means that valve didn't close. And so the acid comes up the esophagus, and if it happens enough, it starts eroding the esophagus. And that's how eventually people get esophageal cancer. That's eventually how it happens. But as soon as I heard about this, the doctor said, we'll put, you have too much acid in your stomach and it's escaping. And I said, wait a minute, I have too much acid in my stomach? I don't think so. I said, are you sure? Yes, absolutely. Well, we have evidence in your esophagus. But here's what your gastroenterologist will not tell you. You need acid in your stomach to close the valve, that LES valve. And when it doesn't send the right signal, it remains open, and the acid and the critters and all the stuff that wasn't dissolved will escape, can escape. So if you have a valve problem, the acid comes up. Why is the acid the problem? It's the valve that's the problem. And I didn't know that at the time. I am trying to research everything I possibly can. I am looking through all the different doctors that are out there. And I saw one doctor that was a pulmonologist and then became when they got gas acid reflux, started saying, no, you don't want to do proton pump inhibitors, which is the only option that my gastroenterologist offered me at the time. I know better because I used to take these acid proton pump inhibitors and I took them for quite some time. But then when God sat me down on the Lillian McDermott radio show, and I went from being a totally allopathic mentality to having a more curious mentality about other ways to heal and giving the body what it needs. Once that happened to me, I knew I needed to get off these proton pump inhibitors. And it's been a long time since I've been on them, probably 15 years or so that I've been off of them. And I remember when I went on them, it was because I was diagnosed with a sinus infection for 2 years. They kept giving me antibiotics, again, messing up the microbiome. And after 2 years, I said, I'm done with antibiotics. I do not feel well. Can I go to an ENT to see what's going on? It was that ENT that got excited because they saw that I had erosion in my vocal cords from too much acid and put me on the proton pump inhibitors. I am not that same person. So that, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I had no intention of ever going on proton pump inhibitors. What are those? They actually stop the acid from producing, the proton pumps from it producing acid. And what does the stomach need to shut the valve? Acid. So then when you take these drugs, it creates other problems. And you will learn more about that tomorrow when you get to meet Dr. Kumar. So here I am doing the research, and then I discovered a podcast by T.C. Hale called Kick It Naturally. And it started talking about things that made sense to me. If this acid doesn't close, if there's not enough acid, that valve won't close. And I knew that that was the path I needed to take. But even though I took the digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid, HCl, and beet flow, and I was doing the protocols there's still something else that was happening in the stomach. And it was that I had a hiatal hernia. So all these different complications. So what happens to me may not be what happens to you for the same result. I may have acid in my esophagus for some reason or another. You might have it for some reason or another, but we must become our own MDs. We must become our own MDs, medical detectives. So what happens when you're told one thing and you fight it and fight it and fight it to go into this white coat trance where you hear and obey, and you have a doctor say, well, because you refuse to do proton pumps, there's nothing I can do to help you. Even though they know the anatomy is when you have enough acid, it closes the valve. Why then, which is a question I will ask Dr. Ravi Kumar tomorrow, why is it that that valve isn't closing? Why, what would cause it Not only did I do an upper endoscopy, a colonoscopy, but I also was told by a person that I coach who is a doctor in Canada. He said, you need to do a manometry and also a 24-hour pH esophagus test. So I did those things. I go back to my doctor, excited about all the information. So, my friend, who is a doctor in Canada, he was rural, so he did a lot of these manometry tests, and he's a regular doctor who sees for everything, right? And now he's in a big city, and so now he's got that lessons but he looked at my manometry test, which they put a big tube up your nose, you swallow it, and they have you drink a salt water. They also numb your nose. It's almost like sucking up Jello through your nose with lidocaine solution in it. But that doesn't stop the gag reflex when it comes down. I'm telling you, at first I thought this was a waste of my time, but they did the test and they got the results. And then they did the pH, another tube that went up my nose, and they put a tape on my face to keep the tube from falling out. And that had a camera in it, and it went all the way down the esophagus. And it monitored when I ate, when I slept, when I snacked, when I drank. And they wanted me to do everything that I normally do anyway. They wanted to capture everything that I did. So if it wasn't for my friend, the doctor in Canada, I would tell you that I would have been out of, I wouldn't have known what to do. When I went to see my gastroenterologist, they had no clue other than proton pump inhibitors. So I did see the nurse practitioner of this gastroenterologist because I felt that they had more of a natural bent to their belief system and practice. So I knew that she would embrace what I had researched and the things that I was doing. And even though I was doing all the stuff I was doing, with the hiatal for the uh, hydrochloric acid that helps produce acid in your stomach if you don't have enough. The beet flow, which causes the gallbladder to flow better, and also the digestive enzymes to help you with that process. And so the process is digestive enzyme. Then towards the middle of the meal, you'll have the beet flow, which helps with the gallbladder, and then the hydrochloric acid. But that may not have been what I needed to do, but that was a protocol I was following. And I stopped it right before the manometry because I wanted to see what was really happening. During that time, I experienced a lot of acid reflux, but I was taking this, in my research, I discovered this product called Gaviscon Advanced. And Dr. Kumar has another option for you as well, that he shared with me. It was called Life Extension, and it has to do with the esophagus. But this one is Gaviscon Advanced. They sold this formula back, I think during COVID, to a company in the UK. So you cannot get the Gaviscon Advance that has 1,000, I think it's called, it's like a sodium alginate, and it has 1,000 milligrams. Nothing else has it. Nothing else in the United States has it. So we order this from Amazon UK. Anyway, there are other options according to Dr. Kumar. But this is what it turns out to be a very expensive, not for the bottle, but for the shipping. But I'm willing to do everything I can. And what this does is that it puts like a raft so that things don't escape. It gives a protection for the valve. And so I was taking this every night until I could figure out what was my plan. So I'm moving forward and I am sitting at the gastric doctor, the gastroenterologist doctor, but the nurse practitioner, who I was told that the gastroenterologist had seen my report and would write down what his findings were, and I thought I'll discuss it with the nurse practitioner. Well, I'm told, well, you refuse to do proton pump inhibitors. What can we do? I said, well, Have you looked at my manometry? Have you looked at my PS 24-hour pH esophagus test? And if I said PS, it's pH, sorry. Um, and they hadn't. She hadn't. He may have, but he didn't put any notes on there. Proton pump inhibitors, it's like Wapner 5 o'clock, Wapner 5 o'clock, proton pump inhibitors. Even though every gastroenterologist knows that you need acid in your stomach for the valve to close. Well, basically, I said, okay, 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 I will do proton pump inhibitors if you can answer this question. So my friend, who is just another earth angel in my life, he said to me, your manometry, which tests the pressure, the flow, everything that happens when you swallow and how it's supposed to be distributed to the stomach, everything was perfect. It was normal. It was as if there was no problem. But when I ate, then all hell broke loose. The flap opened, the acid came out, all of that. But when I wasn't eating, everything was fine. And when I ate, when I was consuming the salt water that they were giving me, everything went to where it needed to go. So I said, answer this question. Why is everything okay? And there is a problem when I eat anything. Could it be that I have too little acid in the stomach? Could it be that by not having enough acid or the hiatal hernia, because the hiatal hernia is, so this is your stomach, it protrudes your diaphragm. So it comes out, and so where the flap is now is on top of this, and your stomach is on the bottom. Could it not be sending the right signal? At that moment, she looked at me like a deer in headlights, and she said humbly, and I'm not saying this as criticism, I'm saying this as humbly as she did. She said, Lily, you know more about this than I do. Can you please send me your information? I don't know what to tell you. Please send me your research. Please send me the video on Dr. Kumar. Please send me all the other stuff that you've been researching. I was shocked. First of all, I was shocked at her honesty, and I thanked her for her honesty. But frankly, I wanted someone to tell me what to do. Because even though I had all this research, I didn't have the puzzle. I didn't have all the pieces that I needed to know until I saw Dr. Kumar's video. And by the way, it's going to be in the description in tomorrow's class so that you can watch it too. So I walked away in shock that the honesty of the nurse practitioner. She also said she would call me back after she did the research and let me know her thoughts. It still hasn't happened, but I'm hoping that this planted a seed in her to have her think outside the box, to be critical about her thinking. Critical thinking is being curious about what she's doing and how she's doing it. Because had I not done this research, I could have been convinced that this was the only way. So this is why I tell you that you need to become your own MD. So what happens when you cannot have, when your stomach isn't producing enough acid? Let's just say that's a problem. And of course, the valve is going to open and you're going to have this pressure, and Dr. Kumar explains it tomorrow in the classroom. So I'm telling you so that you tune in and tell everybody who is taking Tums or Nexium or Prilosec or any off-brand, stuff that will reduce the acid in your stomach. And you'll hear his story. And this is a neurosurgeon, an MD, who, when he was a medical student, was going and doing his rounds as a resident and learned firsthand, saw the stomach of a patient that they were scoping with an upper endoscopy, and it looked like like green like grass that's in the bottom of an ocean or a river. It looked like that. And he thought they had cancer. And the doctor said, no, this is a proton pump inhibitor stomach. And he had been on him for 7 years. And that was his aha moment. That was his moment where he said, I got to be curious, not critical. Because sometimes we defend our belief system. We die for that belief system. But what if our belief is wrong? What if everything we thought was true and was the thing that we needed to do is wrong? But here's the other side of that. What everything you thought was wrong is the right thing to do for you, is the truth, is a new truth. And this journey of mine has caused a lot of issues in my body. Symptoms that we couldn't put together. We didn't know what we didn't know. But because I knew it was acid, I insisted to have the colonoscopy at the same time as the endoscopy because I want to be efficient about this. I want it one and done. I didn't want to have to prep twice. But thank God that I had the symptoms and that I was aware of the symptoms and then I didn't take anything for the symptoms other than Gaviscon. And But prior to that, I didn't realize it was causing erosion. I did not know that that harmless acid reflux that I was experiencing was also causing me to have allergic reactions that were worse than before I was in my 40s. Being next to a dog would cause asthma-like symptoms, and I was popping vitamin C, and it didn't seem to be doing the work I needed. I needed a rescue inhaler. I needed, I started noticing that even though first I was building muscle and doing my suit, the Vision Body suit, which I absolutely love, after a certain time, my body wasn't keeping up with the demands that I was putting on my body. That's why I needed to take a rest. My body was telling me that I needed to rest. But I didn't rest from research. I didn't rest from my other businesses. I didn't rest from that. A little bit. I didn't have the demand of researching for the classroom and doing a class for you that could help us make better choices for ourselves. But I knew that something was happening. And this was the thought that came to my mind. For someone that drinks a lot of water, I'm awfully thirsty. For someone who eats as healthy as I do, I feel deficient. Epstein-Barr was through the roof. There was so much, I had a reactivation of Epstein-Barr, and I've shared this with you in the past. For the last 2 years, I've been dealing with all these separate things, but I've learned that they were all connected. So the next thing was the hernia. It was the hernia. It's the hernia that's not communicating with the stomach, that's filling with acid, and it's not communicating because it's protruding 2 centimeters, which is probably not much, but that flap may or may not have been affected by the lack of acid. So I knew that there was a maneuver that could reverse a hiatal hernia. So I looked at going to my chiropractor and I had an appointment with my chiropractor, Dr. Renee Hahn, which you will meet her as well through this whole process. And when I started putting all the pieces together, I realized I'm going to try this maneuver again because I went to somebody else and they did the maneuver, but they didn't do it the same way that Dr. Renee Hahn did it. So when I saw her, I'm like going to go back to this. I'm going to try this maneuver to reverse the hiatal hernia because I know that once I have the hiatal hernia repaired, I'm medicalized. Once I have a fusion in my neck, I'm medicalized. Once I have a change or once I remove my uterus from my abdomen, which I did, I don't have a uterus anymore. So I have no option to put a uterus back into my body. If I choose to do the band that they put around the the hiatal hernia, if they put a band on that, then I will never be able to do this maneuver that Dr. Renee Hahn did. And if I do this maneuver, the surgery, if I do the surgery, the goal is to not allow anything out. So that means I could never throw up. I don't know about you, I hate throwing up. But if I have something in my system and I need to get it out, I am going to be the first one to say, please, Lord, let me throw up. But if you put that band around it to protect the flap from opening, it won't allow anything to come out from your stomach. But guess what? Do you have too much acid or is it not enough acid? That's the question. And tomorrow's class with Dr. Kumar's explanation and the video that he put out, you're going to love it. You're going to love this. Could answer some of the answers for you, questions that you have as well. So I am going to the doctor after I see my gastroenterologist the next day. And I'm praying and I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that I feel dismissed by the gastroenterologist. I am praying and I'm pouring my heart to God. But then God reminded me, this is before I went to see Dr. Renee Hahn, that God is my healer, that God is guiding every step and that I need to trust the process. I need to trust the process. And you know that I have my little flower with the trust the process on there. I needed to trust the process. So I trust the process. That's when I saw a video that talked about the vagus nerve and the connection between the vagus nerve and a hiatal hernia. Wait a minute. I'm about to go see my doctor to help reverse the hiatal hernia naturally with a maneuver where she kind of pulls the stomach down and holds on to whatever it is. And I know I'm going to do that. But here's what I learned from that video, that the vagus nerve not only goes down from I guess the cranium, the brain. It comes down from the brain. I'm not technical. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV either. And it goes all the way down your aorta, your neck. It goes all the way down your spine. It goes and spreads into every single organ, including your stomach. Your stomach is surrounded by this vagus nerve. And when the stomach protrudes the diaphragm, guess what's pinched? The vagus nerve. That is your fight or flight. That is your fight. And my body, if you looked at the aura ring, when I ate, excess stress, and life excess stress because my vagus nerve was pinched by my diaphragm. I learned that before I went to see Dr. Renee. When I saw her, I had to tell her my story. She kept telling me about her story, and I'm like, no, 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 I need to finish my story so that you can do this maneuver and my time won't run out and all of that. She knew exactly what I needed because she had the same condition too. And she had her doctor do that maneuver. She learned how to do the maneuver. And she also noticed that my C1, which is an upper cervical chiropractor, my C1, if you've ever attended any of my I Am the Solution natural health summits for cancer, for natural health or whatever, she's always been there. My C1 was off, so before she did anything, she wanted to put that back into place. And I rested a little bit, and then she came in to do her maneuver. And instantly, I'm not kidding you, as soon as that stomach was put into place, I felt a peace that I hadn't felt in a long time. And that's when I realized the vagus nerve was released. It's not pinched anymore. I realized that the stress that was being picked up by the aura ring every time I ate was my body trying to signal me, talk to me. If you were to see from that point, from that maneuver that she did, and she did this on a Thursday, and I think it was a Thursday. And then on Monday, I went back again because I wanted to make sure that everything was still in place. And it went back in a little bit. So she did the maneuver again. She checked my C1. It held. Everything was good. She did it again. And I am telling you, since July 30th, 2026, and my journey started February 2nd, I haven't had any symptoms. Well, just a few. So let me say 90% no symptoms. So here's the thing. During this time, my other friend, Dr. Jennifer Grameth, which I just re-aired one of her classes while I was off about self-care. When I sent my blood work, it's like it's not adding up. I sent all my blood work, and she looks at something called MCV. That's Mary Charlie Victor. MCV. That number, and I've gone back a long way, and that number was at 99. It was high. It had been high for a long time. And do you know what Dr. Jen said to me? She said, Lily, how long have you been B12 deficient? I said, I am not B12 deficient. I eat meat now. I am not a vegan anymore. I will have animal products once in a while, but why would I take B12? And she said, an elevated MCV is a sign that I have a B12 or a liver condition or a folate deficiency. So we know the liver is good. There's not a problem there. But the B12, so I go back to my doctor, I look at LabCorp, I look at the results, and I research. And yes, there was a connection. So I started doing B12 sublingually. She said that my deficiency was bad. And when you have a B12 deficiency, that, according to Dr. Kumar, all the puzzles, the pieces are coming together, that alone can cause your flap to not be signaled, especially if you don't have enough acid in your stomach. So here I am being so grateful. So I want to go back. Remember, I told you about the manometry. This was something that was so frustrating for me. When I heard about the manometry test from my friend who is a doctor in Canada, and I didn't get permission to say his name, so if I get permission, you'll meet him too. And I went to the gastroenterologist, asked for that manometry test, and the only place that did this was in Orlando at a hospital. This hospital, because I have Liberty Health Share, they don't accept health shares, so I go into self-pay. That test, if I had Medicare or whatever the insurance pays, that's the agreed upon payment. Medicare pays about $800 for the combination of those two tests. But the hospital was charging me more. Now, the health share pays about 140% of what Medicare pays. So that would have been 1140, or maybe even more. They may have adjusted a little bit more depending on what was needed. The hospital refused. So originally, when I was going to do this manometry right away, it was supposed to be on March 31st. But I found out that they were charging me over $8,000 cash for this test that normally gets $800. Well, Liberty HealthShare tried their best, but they said we'll only pay 1140 of that 8,000. Well, that is not where financially a priority right now was not spending that kind of money there. Um, so Liberty HealthShare, and I have to tell you, Earth Angel again, I have to tell you that Liberty HealthShare contacted a woman named Roxanne Gutierrez. She contacted me and texted me and she said, I am from a company called SGS they do medical bill negotiation. It's a small group that I guess is in contact with Liberty Health Share, and they basically they fill in to pay the gap. They pay that gap if there's a hardship. Liberty Health Share, I think, must have contacted them, but last night, while I was doing research for today and I was trying to put my thoughts together and combine, even though I have not even looked at my my notes, I wanted to know why their I couldn't find their website, I couldn't find anything about them. And that's when Roxanne shared with me that it's just her aunt and her aunt and uncle are Sean and Norma Jean Strash. Angels. I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have done that test for $8,000 out of pocket because I didn't have insurance. I have health share. I have a health share that pays like insurance, more than Medicare, but they would not accept it. They came in and they paid the bill. Loved them. I have never met them. They have never met me. And last night, when I heard this is two people that brought Roxanne, she helps them in the company, my heart was even more melted. I was so grateful for all the different angels that have guided me through this whole process. See, but you have these angels too. And it started with a question. It started with a curiosity as to what's going on. Why is this happening? Had I not kept pursuing it, well, I did this test on July 8th, the day before our 32nd wedding anniversary. And what a gift it was from the whole group. And they were so helpful. And by the way, that's what the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation wants to do. If people would just think outside the box and donate to the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation, I want to be able to help pay for people to have treatment that they cannot afford, that are going through cancer and want to do something natural and holistic before they try something a little bit more chemical. And here I am, being the recipient of their gift, Sean and Norma Jean Strash, and Roxanne, who was the person who contacted me. I did not know that this was, so it became even more a God thing, a more where God reminds me that He is my healer. God is my healer. God is my guide. Because there was no doctor out there that was doing that. I had to be my own MD. I had to be my own medical detective. And today, after that hiatal hernia maneuver that she did, I am 90% symptom free. I've noticed my hair has stopped falling. I noticed that there's other things that are improving. It took a while for, I think, my body to kind of like realign itself. But once that second time that she came in, and Robert and I went on a little staycation, and I'm just so grateful. I am beyond grateful. And I feel like John the Baptist right now saying, hey, you gotta stop doing these things. Stop ignoring and dismissing your body. If you have acid reflux, ask why. Be curious. If you have GERD, which was what I was told, and GERD is acid reflux more than 2 or 3 times a week. That's what GERD is. But my numbers were normal. It was when I ate. Why would they give me proton pump inhibitors? Why, knowing what I know, why would I take proton pump inhibitors? Now, there are exceptions, and according to Dr. Kumar, and you will hear him say this tomorrow, 70% of people that take these acid blockers, Tums, whatever it is, 70% don't need it. There's an underlying condition. And he believes that it was the B12 deficiency that wasn't taking wasn't causing the flap to move down, close. So I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm not done. I'm not done with this lesson. I'm not done in this journey because once I feel that I have completed this journey, oh, I, you are coming along with me. The ones who want to be curious. If you don't want to be curious, that's fine. I want to encourage you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com because when you go to whenyounneedafriend.com, this is where we stop and take ownership for our life. As you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. Listen, I am not against the pill. I take thyroid medication because I was medicalized. I didn't know better at the time. But once you start that rabbit hole, once you go down that rabbit hole, you got to stay on it. And every doctor has told me thyroid medication is different than others because it helps produce it as naturally as possible. But yet I was trying to take hormones that weren't the hormones weren't even penetrating topically. I was trying to do topical. Nothing was going through because I was so deficient in B12. I was deficient in D. If I didn't take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D, I would be what they would consider deficient, but not in an allopathic sense because I was 50. Well, I want to be between 85 and 100. That way, you know that people that have cancer, their D levels are below 30. So you want to make sure you're not even close to that. So there's so many things that I've taught along that were taught to me along the way and I have brought to you at whenyounneedafriend.com because this classroom saved my life and all the earth angels that surround me, helping me so that I can be true, be who I say I am, be true to what I believe, the new truths that I was taught, not the old truths. And by the way, the old Lily, 16 years ago, 17 years ago, would have made fun of this Lily. And if you want to make fun of me, that's okay. I made fun of me too. But now that I know better, I must do better. And I feel like I need to shout it from the mountaintop because if you don't have enough acid and you're treating acid like the problem, it's going to create other issues. And watch the classroom tomorrow. Dr. Kumar talks about what happens when you don't have enough acid and you take the proton pump inhibitors. What could happen to your body? So go to whenyounneedafriend.com. Please subscribe to my channel and in my website. Subscribe and tell everybody. Share this video with your friends. Let them know that there's a way out. God gives us a way out. That is one of the things that I've really truly have hit me really hard is that God is constantly moving things and shifting things so the right people come into your life at the right time. Worry is no longer something that I need to embrace. The vagus nerve, something as simple as that was causing stress because it was pinched. And once it was released, I could feel, my shoulders come down. I almost wanted to cry. God, I could think about it. All the people in my life, Dr. Andrew Saul, who helped me get off of all the asthma medication I was on, just with vitamin C. I tell you, I could be dead right now. But when I turned 50, I declared, I want the next 50 years to be better than my first. I declared that. I didn't realize I had been doing the classroom and learning about natural health for a couple of years. I started the classroom at 47, and here I am today at 63. And I am so, even though I couldn't explain all the symptoms, I had to stop and just listen to my body. And that's what we talk about here. If you need to take a pill for something that is like chronic right now and it is active, take it for a short period of time because that is your body speaking to you. Listen, shh, listen to what your body is trying to tell you. And stop relying on doctors because your doctors will dismiss it. If you come to them and say, I need to get off my proton pump inhibitors. And by the way, if you want to, Dr. Kumar will offer you a way The video that I saw him do, that is the mistakes we made about GERD, and the fix that they did, the medications that they give you to fix the problem that did not fix the problem, and how to fix it, how to get off of these medications. So the pieces of the puzzle is coming, like I'm almost seeing the picture. But there are some pieces that I know are missing. I'm not at 100%. And I ask for your prayer. And I will pray for you that God will give you a word of comfort and courage to say, be curious, be your own MD. Let's work together. And by the way, I believe that Dr. Kumar and I are going to do a webinar. For those of you who have questions and want to, I believe it's going to be October 26th. But just put the date down so that it's a Monday, October 26th. But please, when you go to the oneyouneedafriend.com, and one of the things that I learned from Dr. Kumar is he asks for reviews. He asks for reviews for his podcast. And his podcast is, I already said, the Dr. Kumar Discovery. That's DR, DR Kumar Discovery. Check him out. You'll probably want to check this out before tomorrow, huh? So he asked for, when you go to my podcast, please write some reviews. That will help the algorithms share this information. It's a profit thing. It's not about your health. It's a profit thing. That's so sad to hear, right? But you must be your own MD. Go check out all the Lilly approved products in the classroom. You know, from the oils that I've been using to the hair products, the makeup and all that, through the pain management, all those products, even the working out, the B3 bands, the Vision bodysuit that I absolutely love, but I've taken a little break until I stop that deficiency in my body. Because this was accelerating things, and I needed to stop and build my body, the deficiencies in the body, so that I can go back to wearing the suits. And I'll always tell you the truth, even if I believed it at one point. But I truly believe the EMF suit, the Vision body suit, is amazing. It is amazing when you don't have deficiencies. And I need to fix those deficiencies. I'm in the process of doing that. And I'm so excited to share this with you. So go to oneyouneedafriend.com, share this with everybody. Let them know that there's another way to heal. And again, if you do need a medication, or if you do need to go to a doctor to repair something that is broken, before you repair it, make sure that that's the right thing. But if you're in the middle of having a heart attack, you do everything you possibly can. Even Dr. Furman, Dr. Joel Furman says that even if your arteries are 99% blocked and you're not having any symptoms, you can reverse it naturally. Are you willing, or do you want to take the pill? So today's class is about letting you know what's been happening in my life. But perhaps my greatest takeaway is to rely on my intuition, that God in me, that God in me, that is the I am in me. I am not God, but God is in me. And if I had a speck of God's power in me, I can do all things, even figure out what's happening in my body, because God is my guide and God is my healer. And how wonderful when I meet doctors like Dr. Kumar, and yesterday having my conversation with my regular doctor, and he saw my emails and he saw my desperate plea to get some form of, please help me review my stuff. And he did. He did the same thing when I was sending him the stuff for Epstein-Barr virus. He did that too. So go to a doctor that is willing to take a stand with you if you feel you need that extra support. I know always Dr. Lorraine Day would say, you don't need to go to a doctor. Well, good for you, Dr. Day. You are a doctor. But I needed to go to one. But none of them helped me. The only thing that was helpful to me was going through the testing and questioning everything. Why? Why is this happening? And having a doctor say to you, a nurse practitioner, look at you humbly and say, you know more about this than I do. Send me your research. Send me your research. Although I was grateful for the honesty, I was not happy about that. I felt alone. I felt that that group of people, humans, was going to help me. But know that God is working things out for you, for the greater good. Even when you don't see the answers, God is making the plan rotate around you so that you could figure it out too. It happens to me all the time, and I am not unique. I am just as an heir of the throne as you are, a child of God. We're all children of God, whether you believe in that powerful force or not. You're still a child. You can deny your father and mother all you want, but you still come from that person, those people. So if you can hear anything, is to question everything, to ask, be curious, to don't just go into the trance, the white coat trance where you hear and obey. Ask why. Do the research, because when I do research, I research the allopathic way and I research the natural function, the integrative way. Not just one thing. One size does not fit all. One way of eating does not fit all. It does not. You are an individual with the same organs I have, but maybe not functioning the same way. You may have the same symptoms that I have, but they may be for totally different reasons. Be your own MD, your own medical detective, and continue this journey with me. Sign up, become a subscriber, do whatever you can to bring us all on October 26th to the time that we're together for the webinar, to learn with Dr. Kumar, one-on-one, all of us together. This has been such a burden, but such a blessing. You can look at it as a burden, or you can look at it as a blessing. I choose to look at it as a blessing. So continue to join me, and please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you, worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lily McDermott, wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.